friends. This is the program Empire of Lies, where we discuss manipulation and disinformation in Russian media. A plan without Ukraine, how Russian propaganda reimagines the peace. Russian propaganda broadcasts are once again discussing the peace plan that the US and Russia are allegedly preparing, without Kyiv's participation and without consultations with European capitals. This story, presented by Olga Skabeeva, is more than just information noise. It's an attempt to create a new frame for perceiving the war, as if the diplomatic solution has already been finalized, and Ukraine only needs to sign a document dictated from the outside. The main narrative is that Washington is tired, Europe is outraged, and Ukraine itself is on the brink of internal collapse. Propaganda presents the situation as an inevitable turning point. Zelenskyy is forced to accept the terms before his own system of power collapses. This is how the image of a country that can only come to terms with reality is being created. How propaganda describes Trump's plan. The program claims that the White House has prepared a 28-point plan agreed upon with Moscow and demands Kyiv sign it before Thanksgiving. Details published by the American outlet Axios are presented as proof. Ukraine must abandon NATO, enshrine neutrality in the constitution, cut its army in half, limit foreign military aid, and cede additional territory to Russia. In the Russian version, this is presented as a rational compromise, beneficial to everyone except the current Ukrainian leadership. In reality, it is a compilation of maximalist Russian demands presented as an American initiative. This is an important detail. The propaganda does not propose a real diplomatic process. It simulates a political reality in which Russia allegedly dictates terms through the United States. Kyiv faces an increasingly grave defeat. Trump's team has apparently come to this realization. At least, that's what it seems like right now. Details of the American president's peace plan emerged overnight. 28 points that seem to wipe Zelenskyy out of the water. It has emerged that Washington is issuing an ultimatum to Zelenskyy, demanding he sign the peace plan. According to the Financial Times, we're wary of Western propaganda. However, according to the Financial Times, the United States expects to receive Zelenskyy's signature within the next week. Everything we know about this deal, watch our report. Europe as the deceived party. The program emphasizes that European capitals are presented with a fait accompli. EU foreign ministers, irritated by the lack of consultations, are portrayed as observers who can only accept decisions made by the US and Russia. Thus, the propaganda attempts to convince Europeans. Washington is bypassing Europe. NATO guarantees no longer mean anything. The fate of European security depends not on Brussels, but on a deal between Moscow and Trump. This is an attempt to undermine trust between allies at a time when transatlantic support for Ukraine is critical. Corruption as a tool of pressure. A key element of the plot is the large-scale corruption scandal in Kyiv. Russian media claim that the US launched this process to break Zelenskyy and force him to agree to peace terms. NABU and SAP are presented as instruments of political blackmail. Thus, the propaganda connects two lines. 1. Zelenskyy is allegedly losing power due to corruption. 2. The US is using the scandal to pressure Ukraine. As a result, the impression is created that the Ukrainian leadership is completely controlled from the outside and its independence is a sham. The purpose of this narrative. This media construct is not about real diplomacy, but about psychological pressure. The Kremlin is pursuing several objectives simultaneously. Within Russia, to demonstrate that the West is seeking agreements and is willing to accept Russian terms. In Europe, to sow doubts about the unity of its allies, creating the impression that the US is trading Ukraine. For Ukraine, to impress upon it the inevitability of capitulation and the futility of resistance. Russian propaganda deliberately blends leaks, speculation, political rumors, and comments from individual American politicians, transforming them into a unified US strategy. At the same time, Moscow's own demands are disguised as a supposed international consensus. Think, analyze, draw conclusions, and don't be fooled. This was the program Empire of Lies,